but it's here after... Doesn't want to. Fresno's famous G sign will be sticking around for a little while longer.
ABC 30 Action News live at 6 starts now.
The latest storm systems have made their way to Central California. This is video of the chilly conditions at China Peak earlier today. The resort received a couple inches of snowfall, while the valley floor is preparing for more rain. Good evening and thank you for joining us.
Now, road trips can get pretty long, but to brag on my family a little bit here, I think we do it right. From card games to the license plate game to Jenga. You know, I think I could...
We spoke with two people impacted by this war, just weeks after it started. A reservist in the Israel Defense Forces and a Palestinian American with family in Gaza. We start with Ben. Originally from California, he moved to Israel a few years ago and drafted into the IDF.
Could you describe some of the scenes you've already...
Spend Saturday afternoon watching the movies here. My love of movies was born in this theater.
There's a first iconic Aretha Franklin, God rest her soul, right? She passed away, but she performed here in one of our early days.
In my teen years, that's when all the rock concerts happened. And I saw Bob Dylan in the Rolling Thunder Review in 1975.
Then you have a Bob Dylan who walked through the door, and that, you know, has a whole different experience for a whole different clientele who's celebrating their own history with the space. So it's pretty cool.
Every big performer performed here. Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, Queen. When Queen performed here,
like how to make everything more structural and sound. Like I know people that weren't necessarily on the team, but in the robotics class, they were learning about like AutoCAD, and they had to recreate a historical landmark.
Robotics has grown in the past couple of years at the Hippo Capital. High school is actually the 5-time state championship winners in robotics. And then over the years, we've developed a district-wide robotics initiative for STEM education. And we have robotics teams, competitive robotics teams on every campus, elementary, middle school, and high school. Heather ISD Superintendent Dr. Raul Peña stopped by the competition, excited to see the fruits of their students' hard work.
So it's not like they're putting Mississippi food and fuel from 2.3 million people, ethnically cleansing them to depopulate the area. These are war crimes. I'm also here suffering because I do not know my family and relatives are doing. I don't know if they're alive or dead in Gaza.
What do you make of the way the administration is responding in the wake of all of this?
I would like my country that represents me.
And repaired, and it's just geologically, it's a spot in the bluffs that is not as stable as the rest of the areas.
The mayor of Encinitas, Tony Kranz, says they are monitoring the situation.
We got our geotechno that's been watching, and monitoring it, and we're looking for an opportunity for it to stabilize, and then we'll assess what can be done to shore it up and make the trail usable again.
He says experts are telling him the rainy weather makes matters worse.
I do have experts that have let me know that one of the big challenges is the rainy season.
Things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Thanks very much, Erica Standish, and welcome everybody to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm your host, Josh Taylor. Good to talk to you again on a Saturday night. And it's a Saturday night that has NFL divisional football that's taking place. A lot of college basketball that we've got to get into. Plus, Penguins on the road, currently facing the Las Vegas Golden Knights. We'll give you updates on that score as they come about. So a pretty busy night. Plenty of things to discuss. We talked about that NFL divisional play.
This frigid, bone-chilling January weather didn't stop this group effort. Volunteers came to gather wreaths here at National Cemetery of the Alleghenies.
We've got high school baseball teams, we've got elderly, this is really a community effort. We couldn't do it without our village.
The wreaths placed at each gravestone were donated by sponsors through Wreaths Across America. More than 16,000 in all. Here's the view from a month ago, and this is now.
We are with the American Legion Riders.
It's the 10th year Susan Dillon is.
That's our own people, how important that is for things like diabetes, for heart disease, and all of the other things that affect us. Today, we think that if we're eating our own traditional food, that we have a better chance of survival and being able to be sovereign.
And Angel, what about you?
It's a way to bring our communities together and rebuild things that we've lost due to all the traumas that we've endured and are still enduring and are still processing. But for me personally, I've spent 10 years here now, and I started here as a little brat. I didn't have much appreciation for literally anything.
Last spring, Phoenix had one of the largest homeless encampments in the country. We went downtown to the zone, where more than 800 people were staying before a legal decision forced them to move.
Frequently am asked, Amy, there's 800 people outside. Aren't they all seriously mentally ill? No. Aren't they all using substances? No. Are they all felons or are they all registered sex offenders? No. The only thing in common about everyone is that they don't have access to a permanent home.
9-1 tents, hoarded furniture, people and pets wandering the streets with nowhere to go. It's a jarring sight as we drive through downtown Phoenix, but not an unusual one for many cities.
The search for answers to those questions, and for Erica herself, was urgent from the start, with detectives scouring Rowan County, following tips from all over.
We started every square inch of that house. They pulled up 12 boards and some of the closets, doing cards in the yard, and investing graves. Every place that we knew they'd be in, we searched. They moved a lot. Got calls all over the place.
Substances? No. Are they all felons or are they all registered sex offenders? No. The only thing in common about everyone is that they don't have access to a permanent home.
9-1 tents, hoarded furniture, people and pets wandering the streets with nowhere to go. It's a jarring sight as we drive through downtown Phoenix, but not an unusual one for many cities across America.
Phoenix has been touted as one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S. for years.
It's wandering the streets with nowhere to go. It's a jarring sight as we drive through downtown Phoenix, but not an unusual one for many cities across America.
Phoenix has been touted as one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S. for years. Production of housing in general hasn't kept pace with the change in population.
Amy Schwabenlander runs the Human Services Campus, a conglomerate of nonprofits dedicated to helping those experiencing homelessness. Services like meals, storage for belongings.
What it means for American democracy.
Prime Minister Orban is being accused of all kinds of things simply because he doesn't toe that liberal line. He stands for Christian conservative values.
To sum up, the mother is a woman, the father is a man, and leave our kids alone. Full stop, end of discussion.
The new conservative alliance now streaming on the free CBS News app.
The human brain contains 100 billion neurons. That's as many cells as there are stars across the most accurate forecasts right in the palm of your hand with the 19 First Alert weather app. Just scan the QR code right there on your screen. A 19 missing alert. Have you seen Nicholas Millsaps? Cleveland police say he is missing and in danger. Take one more look at the picture on your screen. If you have any information on where he is, call police. 8 people are looking for a place to live, and 5 firefighters are injured after a house fire. This happening today near Pittsburgh. The fire started inside a residential building, and flames quickly spread to 2 other buildings
and it was deemed a suicide. Did you believe that?
I have to say, there's many schools of thought on this suicide. For me, I had interacted with Jeffrey Epstein in depositions and other places, and he didn't strike me as the type of person that would take his own life. But I'm by no means a psychologist, so I don't think we'll ever know. I mean, the circumstances surrounding his death were so unusual. Having temp staff on site, having cameras not working, there were just a variety of.
For the rest of my life.
What did you feel?
It's just pure euphoria.
He took us to where he said he often went to buy drugs, including heroin.
Everybody in Morgantown knows to come here. Probably 17, 18 years old. You know, just a kid.
Buckhalter still looks like an athlete. It's hard to imagine he was an addict for more than 15 years. He told us he does not remember how many times he overdosed and that he couldn't stay clean.
Mainland now has 2 state championships. The Bucks won their first title in 2003 when Roland was a player on the team. It was a full circle moment as he got to bring home the same hardware as the team's head coach.
My grandmother was the first one to tell me I was a good football coach, and kind of being able to live out a legacy they kind of chose for me, right, and told me that they saw in me is amazing.
Roland is confident his teams at Mainland will continue doing special things in Daytona.
You're playing for one of the best programs in the country. You can't beat that with a stick. You know, we always say that environment matters. You know, Mainland football is just different. Football is different other places.
And this is a pretty good year for high school football in Central Florida. Coco also went.
And we've talked to a lot of people with the last name Goodman, but none is related to Erica Parsons.
He says the story Sandy and Casey Parsons told about a Nan Goodman, who is Erica's biological grandmother, was entirely bogus.
Nancy is a Nan Goodman.
To prove it, detectives had to conduct a wild chase across the state.
They ran down every Nan Goodman in Nashville and couldn't find it. I mean, it's crazy, the whole story.
In September 2013,
normality in the brain that occurs over time with recurrent use of drugs. And this can be any substance, alcohol, it can be opioids, amphetamines, cocaine, and they all are involved in the same part of the brain.
And so your idea was what? With the implant?
Parkinson's, the implant that in the movement part of the brain that is electrically malfunctioning, causing shaking. In this case, we're going into behavioral regulation, anxiety, and craving parts of the brain.
Dr. Azai has seen the
Question for Alpha. Where could you go without your phone for a month? They're came with a hefty check, and they offer one their dairy company is making. Oh, it's coming with cheese too. All this coming up in health breaks.
addiction patient in the U.S. to get the implant. Dr. Azai's team interviewed him the day before the surgery.
The best outcome possible would be just to cut the cravings out, make it feel a little bit better. You know, if those couple things happen, that's all I could possibly ask for. At that time, I was so desperate for a better life that I was willing to do just about anything, and I signed up to do it.
Take pictures with any frozen Yetis they found. The day was also a time for locals to hit hotspots. Local businesses excited to be part of the unique event.
They thought it was a great idea. Very fun event. A lot of places are running specials and sales in the downtown businesses today.
A fun fact for you tonight, according to the Hastings Chamber of Commerce webpage, the city has a well-known history of supposed Yeti sightings. And as we bring Lisa in, obviously the ice sculpture, they have the great weather for it today. But I get very confused. You have Bigfoot, Yeti, Sasquatch,
I know.
Abominable Snowman.
Well, the Bumble. You know who the Bumble is? How do you?
Capitol after another government shutdown has been averted. Another stopgap bill has been passed, funding the government through early March. Now, this bill extends current spending levels and buys time for lawmakers to negotiate a full year spending bill. This is the third time since October that lawmakers have used temporary measures to keep the government running, and it has many lawmakers angry. We are only a few days away from the New Hampshire primary, and there could be a closer race than what we saw at the Iowa caucus. Fox's Alexis McAdams has the latest on who could walk away with the most votes.
As we get closer to Tuesday's primary, former President Donald Trump and former
West border of this country.
It's complete chaos. In the last administration, you have individuals that when they realized that they were going to get caught, they would get detained. Right now, during the current administration, they have a lot more of a willingness to fight the agents.
How do you think this country can better treat or deal with asylum seekers as we see these massive flows into this country?
By actually having immigration judges and asylum officers there on the line.
You can just hardly go a day without hearing something about pickleball.
I know it.
This sport has taken the nation by storm. But if you ever wondered how it could get any better, well, these organizers may have figured it out.
Yeah, how about glow-in-the-dark pickleball for a chance? So the city of Largo hosted its first ever glow-in-the-dark pickleball tournament, and this is pretty neat. I mean, kind of looks like they're in, a party right there. So players are encouraged to, of course, wear their own neon or radiant lights to shine even brighter.
Payments. Just a month ago, Sports Illustrated was in the news after the publisher fired CEO Ross Levinson. Before that, SI took heat for publishing stories with fake author names and profile photos generated by artificial intelligence. Police here at home are searching for this Ready cab after the person who was driving it was murdered. Nicholas Hokima's body was discovered early Monday morning outside the South Center Mall in Tukwila. Fellow Ready cab drivers say they knew something was wrong before his body was found.
Dylan Johnson, their leading rusher, both of their starting D tackles. So they were going to have to kind of start over from a personnel standpoint. It was just going to be with some of those younger guys coming up, play bigger roles than they would have otherwise. But I think you're also going to see Jed Fish and his staff use their own connections to bring players in.
Well, at least 2 Arizona Wildcats in the transfer portal are reportedly visiting UW in the next.
Is accelerating the decline of this country. We have the choice that's offered by some Republicans, which I would say is just managing the decline a little bit better than the Democrats. That's not acceptable for me. What we need to do is we need to reverse this decline. We need to create a new birth of freedom in this country, and we need.
I'm just extremely excited for both of you guys. I appreciate that, but got to give you your flowers as well. I mean, you've been a trailblazer. We wouldn't have the opportunities we have if it wasn't for you. There's a saying, if you can't be invited to the table, then build your own. In essence, we're creating.
You just have to know where to find them.
So if you want to get a good deal on a hotel room, it means you're going to have to do a little extra work.
Take advantage of online mystery deals. They sound like a cheesy gimmick, but Razzler says mystery deals like Hotwire's Hot Rates and Priceline's Express are worth it. The catch is you don't know the hotel's name or street address before you book the room.
Cravings and anxiety that's so overwhelming that the therapist has difficulty working with patients.
Last February, we watched Dr. Azai use focused ultrasound to treat Dave Martin, who told us he's been surrounded by friends and family who use drugs his whole life.
When did you start using drugs?
When I was 7 years old.
7?
Yes. I did drugs for 37 years.
What kind of drugs were you using?
Anything I can get my hands on.
Inside the MRI, Martin was shown these images of drug use to
to limit fruit juice. The weight gain from fruit juice is greater than eating whole fruit because juice contains little to no fiber, meaning it won't make you feel as full. Let's switch gears now and get a last check of the forecast. Here's a live look outside from our Fox 5 Sky Cam in Fairfax, Virginia. The lights are still up. Looks beautiful out there. You can see snow on the ground. It is cold.
Yeah, meteorologist Jennifer Delgado joining us with a check on that forecast. Hey, Jen, your little thermometer there in the corner is shaking.
Yeah, it's shaking. I need to put like a scarf on it or something because it is cold outside and we're going to be shaking tonight because temperatures once again are going to stay below freezing. We didn't climb above freezing today, but the problem is any areas that were treated, they're going to ice over. So be aware of that, especially if you're going to be out and about late tonight for the threat of black ice. Our temperature right now, a cold 18 degrees at Dallas.
Giant feast of a Chinese meal and, like 14, 16 people there. It was a lot of fun, great catching up with everyone. It's just wonderful. A lot of food, a lot of laughter.
That's great. That's a good family celebration. Definitely. And the significance of the Year of the Dragon. What can you tell our peeps about what they can look forward to in the Year of the Dragon?
Well, the Year of the Dragon, lucky for everyone, is full of luck, full of a lot of fortune. You should go out there and be bold with your year, make big decisions, but also it's the year of the wood dragon. That's what I just recently learned. And what that means is the strength of wood combines with the strength of the dragon. So I think it'll be a pretty good year for us.
To line item and out, a president will be able to do that. I mean, just think about, I look at this race right now. Haley obviously worked at the United Nations. Trump increased funding to the United Nations. I will eliminate funding for the United Nations. It's a total joke, and I'm sick of it. But you can have.
Hi, George. It's Jose in Chicago. Film critics here in the Windy City made their picks as well. They also selected Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon as the year's Best Picture. And just like New York, the directing prize went to Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer.
World will remember this day.
Stellar critics named Emma Stone Best Actress for Poor Things. And Paul Giamatti.
And then they're incentivized to get people to buy from their link, which they then get an award for doing.
I really love Temu.
Temu says it has more than 100 million customers worldwide.
Even my mother is purchasing it on Temu, so it's not just young people on TikTok. It is expanding to other demographics as well.
Almost anything and everything is on the site, from women's clothes for as little as $1.47 to earbuds for $10.
So my bank details got sold to the black market by Temu.
However, lots of customers means there will be complaints. The BBB has received nearly 1,000 of them about Temu in the past 12 months.
Most of what we're hearing is just quality control or customer service issues. Just know that if you're buying something for $2, that
themselves, and that's so I think in the primary, as it shaped up, I think it's pretty clear. I think the candidates are all kind of, in a little bit different spots. Donald Trump is running really for his issues. He's focusing on those issues that are personal to him. Nikki Haley's running on.
I'm so proud of her, and I think she's extremely talented, and the things that she's putting out there are one of a kind. I just want to make sure she got that credit. At first the announcers, they're like, "Hey, Taylor Swift can get Nike to do anything." I was like, come on, we gotta let these people know it was all Kristen, that was all her. So I'm really happy to see her get her credit. Taylor had said that she was gonna wear it. You never know until you get to the stadium. So when we saw it at the same time everyone else did, she came out in the golf cart with the jacket on, and we were fired up.
Approached Kyle Juszczyk about getting a custom jacket from his wife.
No, I haven't. But my wife actually was talking about that. But it's all right. I don't have a number, so you better not wear that. That'd be so embarrassing for us. But no, that was cool. She's awesome, and she does that stuff all the time. My daughter likes to make clothes since she was like 7 years old, so she's always sending her some stuff too that they try to make. So it's awesome. It's cool.
With Stanford's win over Oregon last night, women's basketball head coach Tara Vanderveer tied Mike Krzyzewski as the win.
In San Francisco's Chinatown, a beloved friend and community leader celebrated her 90th birthday this week. Kelsey Thor takes us to the party for the woman known as Polka Dot, who became a fashion icon in the neighborhood.
When Dorothy Polka Dot walked,
A marriage pact, an agreement between two people that if they're still single by a certain due date, they'll marry each other. Only I suck at relationships. It's the truth.
So it just shows you can do all this way less than what they're doing anywhere else. So we've been able to show that small governments, we banned China from buying land in the state of Florida. No more land, no land in Philadelphia. We kicked them out of our universities. We did,
Like suddenly you don't feel like you're a prisoner in your house. You feel like you're in a cozy, warm bubble that you want to be in. Or you changed it up completely and went tropical. What was driving us was what's the benefit to all of our, I don't even want to call them customers, our family, it's our extended family. What do they need? We're really picky about our ingredients.
What is your role in the Sinaloa cartel? To find out why the cartels keep getting stronger and wealthier.
This is a war, but we're not fighting it. Our citizens are not.
Funding Cartels, now streaming on the free CBS News app. America Decides, taking you inside American democracy. The most important stories on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis.
You're going to hear a lot of reporting.
It is clearly a pivotal moment.
Gun control, the economy, education, both sides of the political aisle fight it out for power.
My family's far away, like in Philadelphia and Charlotte, so my village is literally my husband. So this is like everything. This is really everything, and I just feel so grateful.
let's give it up for our little lady. I won't hold you to it. Why don't you take her and stop working on what you're gonna do? Well, guys, how about that? So rain right here in North Carolina. I feel it. I'm pretty sure you guys can too.
That's all for GMA Life.
See you guys next week.
Thanks for joining us. What do you get to run?
Art, hustle, home. CBS News, Philadelphia.
Wants to, regardless of who wins the election. But that's what's happened with these agencies. That's what's happened. It's become a massive leviathan. So we're going to reduce the footprint of the federal government by 50%. We're going to remove agencies out of Washington, D.C. and put them in other parts of the country.
Right now on NBC 5 News at 10, the brutal cold is back, whether we like it or not. Meteorologist Pinsac has a look at your chilly forecast. Plus, people in part of northwest Indiana spent the day digging out of feet of snow. The warning is being issued to residents. And the suspect in a November homicide right outside the House of Blues appears in court. We have the very latest on this case. The news at 10 starts right now. All right, good Saturday evening to you. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm broadcasting me, and yeah, we got to talk about the cold, the brutal cold that is. It is back. And don't let the sunshine fool you because the wind chills could dip as low as 25 degrees below zero tonight. Now, it's a much different story in LaPorte County. Some people there spent the day digging out of 3 feet of snow. So let's turn things over to meteorologist Pete. He joins me now for a look at what we can expect. And we're used to, I don't even want to say we're used to the winter cold. We are. Yeah. We don't like it though, Pete.
Doesn't make it any easier to take, that's for sure. Good news is we've only got one night of it. Our temperatures are going to start rebounding tomorrow. First, we're going to talk about the radar here, because as you can see, it is nice and quiet. I'm going to flip this over to